Hello,
Hello,
welcome back to Freedom
hello.
Brigade Nation. Good to see you, Andrea.
Good to see you, Charity.
Very cool. Man, it's been quite a week. So, turns out satanic pedophiles do run the world.
Yeah, who
But
would
we
have
already
thought?
knew that. I'm just glad that everybody else, there's no denying it. And so
Yeah.
the fact that there is not, it's amazing that the news stories are not picking up on any of the evidence, but they are only going after the president.
Mhm.
Well, we think your name's on the well, how about the names that you know are on the flight logs? How about the pictures you have? How
Yeah.
about going after people with the evidence you have instead of always just trying to use it to attack? The fact is that our government has known that children
Mhm.
are being tortured and they
Yeah.
don't care. The
Well,
news
there's
does not care.
there's that, it's the political game, and it's the two-tier justice system that you and I have been screaming about since J6 and before that. And we talk about it. It's not, it's like it's not racism, it's not this and this, it's the rich and the poor. It's these rich, powerful globalist elites that think that we're their slaves. And now we're seeing this two-tier justice system to where if you're P. Diddy, if you're Jay-Z and Beyonce, if you're rich and famous and powerful, there's no justice. And
No.
and I've said from the get-go, if there's hard evidence that Trump or any of his buddies were involved in this, then they need justice as well. Then they, like
Meanwhile,
anyone that we have, and we have plenty of evidence. There's still like what 3 million documents or something that they're keeping from us, and it's
Meanwhile,
not just
Bill
that we
and
want to see the
Hillary Clinton
documents. I
still
want
walk away around
oh
free after
oh
the multiple crimes.
yeah,
Anyway,
it's disgusting.
so I will say that there is I want to tell you what we did this weekend. So you
Okay,
know that they elected me to be the chairman in Oklahoma for the Republican Party, and we had a state committee meeting this weekend. And we made a lot of bold statements. It's interesting what you can get done when you don't have this establishment types just filibustering all the time and then not allowing time for business.
yep,
We got completely caught up on all of our old business, which has not happened in I have
ever.
no idea, maybe ever.
Yeah,
But then because everything gets excuse me kicked down the road, but
yeah.
we have a mayor in Oklahoma City who says he is a Republican, but he would be what our friend Shane Jett calls a trans Republican. And
Identify.
he wants to use the Republican bathrooms, but lacks the anatomy to
Hmm.
or anything required to actually be a Republican.
Hmm.
What we did as the Republican Party is we censured that mayor. Now, other states could even go as far as to say they can't consider themselves a Republican anymore. Our state law does not allow that, but we made a public statement as the Republican Party. And I believe that we need to see more of that.
Hmm.
But we, the people, have to take the party back from the swampy types. It is happening across the country. There are a lot of Republicans that are good people, and even many that have been in the game for so long that have just really tried to have some righteousness and justice. But there are many walking around that are trans Republicans, and it's going to take the people getting involved. I love it, Andrea. People will text me or they love to publicly ask me, on a social media platform, well, Charity, what are you going to do about this? I'm like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah,
Like, they're like,
yeah,
well, who do you have running against Langford? Well, who are you going to run?
yeah.
Like, we've got to have people step up and take accountability and take responsibility with their government, which is why we have the brigades. That's how you do that at the local
Hmm.
level. The Republican Party can be a force, but it's really up to the people that are in it to decide what kind of force it's going to be.
Yeah.
Another thing we had is our friend, Senator Shane Jett, which I know you love him. We've had him on the show
I
several
love
times.
Shane.
He wrote a bill that said that he didn't think that they should be allowed to have alcohol on the Senate floor, things that we shouldn't have to say out loud. And immediately they removed his leadership capacity. They took
Oh wow.
him out of the rotation. for being the presiding officer. They removed him from his vice chairman status on a committee. And then they sent a letter to the senators talking about how he was a troublemaker. And so it's really interesting. I'm really proud of Shane. He has a spine and he's standing up to stuff that it needs to be things that need to be said that shouldn't have to be said out loud. People are like, I don't know any job where you could drink on the job. And, I agree with that. But especially when you are legislating for the rest of the state, you should have to be of sober mind. There's lots of times that they've held votes really late. There was the last vote of session last time, they had them there till midnight. I wonder if they weren't able to drink when they were doing it, if these would go so long. If this is happening in Oklahoma,
Yeah,
this is
that's
happening where you're at.
that's the problem. Is I'm in Nevada, and I've made jokes about some of the events you go to when you're doing things in the GOP, and I used to say, if police were to follow do like traffic checks, like DUI checkpoints after some of these events, I don't think very many people would get through them. I mean, that is like a cultural problem, and it shouldn't have to be said. There's just cultural rot at the center of all of it all the time. And when someone like Shane Jett stands up and says, hey, this doesn't make sense and this needs to stop. I mean, we have Nancy Pelosi recently, she was in the news because she goes, it's none of anyone's business if I like to drink. Did you hear her say that?
You know what?
It's no one's business.
When you do it after hours.
Yeah.
Do it when you go home. I don't care if you go have a drink on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
It is all of our business if you're going to do it while you're sitting in there.
You work for us, and that's the problem. There's this culture of their entitlement. They don't think they work for us, and then they don't answer to us. And what you're saying is if we don't push them to have to answer to us, and if you don't support the good guys like Shane Jett, we had Jason Murphy on your show last week. I loved him, and he talked about that. He was once, a House rep for a long time, and he's great. He's a great warrior in Oklahoma. Everyone in Oklahoma, I just adore. I love what they do. But I mean, he was talking about how we need to support these guys. You need to go in there when they have those bills that you care about, on the floor. Go in and support these guys because it is scary. And when they're alone and they're getting threatened and they're getting attacked, they need their constituents to come in and have their back. So we've got to stay involved.
That's right. That's right. Well, all the ways that they are attacking us is it's disgusting, and more is coming out. And I really hope that our viewers by themselves will go look at the Epstein files. You can find it on the DOJ website. They are not all there, but what is available is there. And don't take other people's word for it. Dig. It's there, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But I had somebody on one of the other national committee people were like, if this is true, and I'm like, when it's on the government website and they're saying it's true, why do we still want to say if? Because we don't want to believe it? Because it doesn't feel good to know these things are happening. We have to boldly say this is not okay. And I'm sorry, but if child torture is not the line, there is not a freaking line. And it's disgusting. But all of the ways that they're attacking us, we have said many times, stay out of the big box stores. Don't eat the food. Please don't buy meat from Walmart or other stores. I don't think it's all meat. I don't think it is. And I mean, they put a lot of synthetic stuff in a lot of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge. Now, I don't go and look at their in their plants and see what they do, but it is largely believed that is not all 100% meat.
Yeah.
Regardless, I do think you should be paying attention when the deodorant has aluminum in it. I mean, everything, the shampoos have crap in it, everything. And so as we are trying to heal our bodies from all the ways that they have sabotaged us, you introduced me, Andrea, to this company that helps rebuild peptides.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to invite Dr. Farella on. Dr. Angie Farella is agreed to join us. Hello, Dr. Farella.
Hello. Thanks for having me, ladies.
So glad that you joined us today. It's so funny. So before the show, I told both of them, I don't know that I'm going to mention Epstein. And that's the first thing I said. And most of it I talked about, because it's just not okay. It's just not okay.
Well, on top of that, as a pediatrician, I wholly back what you're saying 100%. And I also want you to know that we also need to look into some of the quote unquote immigrants into our country
Yes.
from the CCP
Mm-hmm.
that are doing very crazy things for with children and to increase the population of children for their use.
Yeah.
And that's called womb trafficking or egg trafficking.
Yeah.
It's very, I'm sorry, I just went on a complete tangent.
No,
but
I've been following it. There's like over a million, there's over a million instances
Yeah.
of this that we're going to see extrapolating over the next how many years?
Right.
Of
Well, there's a couple in
CCP.
California. Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple in
Oh.
California had 21 surrogate children born under the age of 3 in their home. And they were being abused. And that is,
Oh,
I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, don't even get me started with this whole thing. But
Yeah.
sorry, totally went off the rails. But you know what? You're right. You're right when you're right.
Well,
And,
so
we'll
a
go into
lot of the
peptides now.
music,
yeah, right.
so I'm very proud to be a Generation X, right? Because a lot of our music was calling this stuff out for a long time, and some of us didn't know what we were talking about. You know, for against, I loved Rage Against the Machine, and I
Mhm.
still do. And I'm like, my daughter, they'll like listen. I'm like, you guys, I don't listen to Rage Against the Machine anymore because I don't think that it's uh, fitting for your soul. I don't think it's helpful, but I still can't help that I love the music. And I always tease my daughter
90s
that's
kids.
17. They're still listening to our music because we were the best generation. It's just all there is to it.
Mhm.
But Chester Bennington, you should look into his correlation with Anthony Podesta. That's a whole different story, and go down that
Mhm.
whole rabbit hole. But it's really easy to see. But he came out with a song, Hunger Strike, and they talk about the farming of the babies. And this is stuff that has been happening for a very long time.
Yep.
Um,
Ugh.
anyway, so I want to go back to the peptides because this is a thing. First of all, it's more comfortable of a topic, but it's also there's an answer, right? Like, so they've been poisoning us, and there's fluoride in our water, and a lot of people have used fluoride in the toothpaste, and all the different ways that the foods and the products have harmed us. What can we do about it? Well, there is something you can do. So, peptides are what make up your cells. And your company has figured out how to replenish those. If I am getting this wrong, so I am not a science geek, right? English and math, I did no problem. Science, I was like really excited to have a C so I didn't have to retake it. So, please correct me. Tell me about this, what the peptides do, and how we can rebuild them, and what that
Sure.
means.
Sure. So peptides are actually, they're amino acids that are put together in a chain and they're messengers. And so they go to specific places in your body for either repair or for replenishment. That's a big one. And so that's what a peptide is. And many peptides are found in nature. Many of the things that you hear about in media or in the doctor's office, because there's a lot of doctors that use what we call GLPs, GLP-1s, GIPs. Those are also a kind of peptide, as is things like BCP 157. A lot of people know what those are. Now, the important distinction with what we're going to talk about is those are synthetic peptides. So those are peptides that are made in a lab, and so they don't exactly have the same message that natural peptides do. So they can cause a lot of side effects. And we already know the problems with GLP-1s and the problems with GIPs that come from the synthetic side of the world. And that honestly is dangerous for some people. Are they helpful in some cases? For sure, but you need very close monitoring. So I am not a huge fan of people buying peptides on the internet. They take a little questionnaire, 3 or 4 questions, and boom, they can get their prescription. That's very shady. I don't like it. It's dangerous for you as a patient. You don't have recourse when it comes to help. Like, oh, I'm running into this problem. I need someone to talk to. And if you're doing that outside the doctor's office, and then you try to try to go into your doctor, and you're like, well, I'm taking these things. Can you help me? Because I think I'm getting these side effects. The doctor's going to be like, they didn't come from me. They didn't come from me. I can't really help you. I mean, that's just truth. Doctors are set up to be in a state of defense a lot because of liability, because any Joe can sue us and we'll pretty much lose. I mean, honestly, I know that sounds awesome, but it's really a true statement. And so people have to be really careful. Many of my patients, I'm I'm a pediatrician by trade, but I take care of a lot of adults with chronic disease, chronic inflammation, chronic infectious disease like Lyme's disease and things of that nature. And so I have to always weigh what I'm doing with my patients. And I've always used the mantra, restore the core, and everything else falls into place. And what I mean by that is if you go functionally, if I do everything based on a functional medicine kind of lens. And so I try to repair the function of the human body before I even try to fix anything else. Because what happens is sometimes if you repair the function, you don't have to repair anything else because now you fix the problem. And so
Right,
what
so
these
it's like fixing a car that's having an issue, you can change the
Mhm.
oil and it might run a little smoother, but if you actually fix the part that's broke, right, it's gonna then you don't have any
Exactly.
more issues.
Exactly. Exactly. And some of the things like you were talking about are preservatives in our food, for instance. We know for a fact that, well, the study just came out the other day, right? Florida, their Health and Human Services, I believe it was their Health and Human Services group, just did a study on arsenic in everyday candy that kids like.
Arsenic,
Arsenic. Arsenic.
lovely.
Yay. So 4 Twizzlers gives you your annual amount of arsenic for the day for the year. Isn't that lovely? So, which was
That
my
explains
go-to
it all. I used
candy.
to love Twizzlers when I could have sugar. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, here's the crazy thing is that's what I used on the airplanes during 2020 debacle to not have a mask on. I would sit there and chew Twizzlers on my
Yeah,
flights because I was eating, and I wasn't wearing a mask. They could go flip off. I
right,
was eating. So, so
right.
who knows how much arsenic is in my system because I was really good at that. But these are some of the things that no one knows about, and then all of a sudden the lid gets blown off, and now we have to worry about detox. We have to worry about other things, right? And so the beauty of the Make Wellness peptide is that all of these peptides know their message. They know where they go. They are very effective in where they go, and they're natural. Huge difference. They're natural. And so when they've tested these peptides, they know that they are going to the place they need to go to and that they're signaling the right thing, which to me is a huge plus because I know throughout, I'm one of the freedom fighter doctors. And, one of my big complaints with the whole jab issue with the COVID, it was how do we know that they are making this protein and how do we know that it will ever stop? And how do we know it's programmed for the right thing?
Yeah.
And turns out I'm right. Right.
Yeah.
So,
It sucks when you're right when you don't want to be right. But
right,
Dr. Farella,
exactly.
you also brought up that the scientists behind Make Wellness, and you can go to freedombrigades.com, go to the shop, and it's like the second affiliate on Charities page. And it helps if you get Make Wellness through Charities page, it'll help Freedom Brigade. So go there and grab some. I'm obsessed. These ladies know that I take all the Make peptides, and I'm like the biggest advocate now for these products. But you said something that I loved because people are really into the science behind these peptides, and the fact that they're natural is kind of like it messes with people's heads. They're like, wait a minute, it's not injectable. These are not injectables. But you
No.
said some of the scientists behind this company have been working on this for like a decade or longer. Like this has been something
decades.
that decades.
Yes.
So this is this. They didn't just come up with this. This is something
No.
they've been crafting for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's something that people have to understand. Is a lot of people get very into certain products or certain things and they throw around things like the term natural, right, or organic, right? And the thing about it is that when you're looking at, and I do lots of deep dives on lots of companies for supplements because I'm a supplement crazy person. um Purity is very important. These are very pure peptides. They're very consistent. So that's the other thing is the consistency of the product. And they have proven time and time again to be extremely consistent with the message that that particular peptide is sending to the body and the body cells so that they are completing that loop. And so I love Make peptides. I take them also, and I do a lot of my things from the viewpoint or the lens of health and wellness, right? And so, different people have different goals. I'm in my late 50s, so I have different goals than someone that's in their 20s or 30s. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I mean, just for me, I take fit and lean more for the fact that I'm in my late 50s and I don't want to lose muscle mass. That's why I take it. if it's an added bonus that I've dropped a few pounds, that's an added bonus. That's a win for me. But what's more important is that I don't want to have that crepey, saggy skin from having all this atrophied muscle, this muscle loss, which a lot of women don't realize that starts in your late 20s. And so if you're not on it like white on rice, you're going to look terrible by the time you're my age. And I know that sounds really awesome, but I've always been very hyper focused on maintaining my health because I was, a late gestation mom who had kids late in my late 30s. And I want to be around when my children have children. Right now they're teenagers. So, I have another 20 years, hopefully, to go. And I want to be at my healthiest when they have children so that I can enjoy that generation as well. And so I think people just have to know what their focus is. Lean is very good for lean muscle mass. It is excellent for preserving your muscle mass. Fit helps augment it. So there's a lot of things that are augmenters as well, like the hydrate in Make Wellness is an augmenter. An augmenter is a helper. So it's the stuff that helps those peptides work to their optimal ability. Restored is their sleep product. And I'm telling you, everyone that's postmenopausal knows that sleep is kind of an illusion in older women.
That's a really nice way to put that. Sleep is an
is.
illusion after
It's an
menopause. I
illusion.
agree with you.
And so, it's like an oasis. Can we please have sleep, right? Restored has been amazing for me for sleep. And I have tried lots of natural sleep products over many, many years. And I can tell you, I love Restored. I go to sleep. Not only do I go to sleep, but I wake up refreshed. I don't feel like I have Benadryl haze, and we all know what that means. And I can actually perform, and I'm sharp, and I'm on my feet all day, every day for the most part. So, that is something for me that's a game changer for me. Calm is another one of their peptides. It's phenomenal. It's like a pixie stick. So it comes in a little shaft container that you open, and you put it directly on your tongue. And I can tell you, in high stress situations, like if I know I'm walking into a very stressful situation, and I take half of it. I just fold it in half and take half of it. Man, nothing riles me after that. I really can think straight. I don't get emotionally overloaded. We all have those moments. I mean, I go into our state places all the time, and I have to give testimony and things of that nature. So when I go in there, I can't be in a high emotional state, right? Because you can't think, and you can't actually answer questions in the best way that you want to do that. So Calm is phenomenal. Calm, when they first came out, I used Calm to kind of about 2 hours before I went to bed just to shut my brain off. And I know you ladies have the same issues, right? We are going all day thinking about things. And when it's time for us to lay down, then we start rehashing the whole day, right?
Yeah.
And Calm really does help me shut my brain off.
So you also have, I know that my husband has started taking the energy, and he really has enjoyed that. And he's only been doing it for about 2 weeks. But the one thing I love about this is it's restoring naturally the way God designed your body with natural peptides. And it's not the synthetic, it's not the GLPs. And if you're really interested in what's in the GLP shots, please go see what Brian Artis has to say about that.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But
and the Make peptides are sourced from, I've gotten really obsessed. Like, we know about all the chemicals, especially in American products and American food, which is horrible. Like, I've been on a carnivore kick for a long time because honestly, it's like, I don't even want to touch vegetables because they have like a lot of poison and stuff on them. But we know that stuff that's sourced from Europe is better. You get European wine, European pasta, European bread. It's actually, there's actually nutritional value there that we don't get here in the States because of the way everything's been manufactured. And our peptides come from France and Ireland, and the way they source these for Make peptides. I mean, I've told people a million times, I don't sell anything unless I've tried it. I've been taking these for a couple months now. I have a ton of friends taking them. I just had a friend text me last night that she took Calm. She just started taking Calm, and she loves it. So it's like, it's not just like we're trying to sell this. It's like, I'm seeing people feel better. Yeah. And from like what you're saying, these natural, safe products that like, that don't negative,
So
like they don't have the side effects and they don't negatively, interact with other things you're
people
taking.
send stuff all the time to sell that I don't put on the
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
And Andrea, this is the only, and I've known Andrea, I think we're going on 5, maybe 6 years now
Hmm.
that we've been friends, and it's the only time she's ever been texting me like, "You have to try this. This is amazing." And so, I was like, "Okay, okay, well, you've never done this before, so let's see." And so, and I've been trying
Yeah.
it, but I don't just put stuff out unless I really believe in it, and I say no to a lot of things. It
Oh,
it
I do
just
too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I mean, it matters. I do have a question, and so once again, this is the C science student who was always I just wish I could have gone through college with, legal and math and English, I would have been great. But they made me take science, so the C science student, is asking, do peptides, like, as we get older, is our body not making as many of those? And is that why we need a boost? Or is it all because of the poisons? Or I mean, I'm sure it's a mixture if the age thing is factoring in.
Sure, absolutely. So, why, so going to that point, let's just kind of go backwards a little bit. Like if we were optimal machines, optimal human being machines, why would we have atrophy after 30 in women of our muscles, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of us that are female, we wake up one day sometimes in our 50s and we're like, whoa, what happened to us? Like when we were 30, we were hot to trot, right? And what we notice is that there's a redistribution. And so there is something about, number one, poisons in our food. For this is an absolute known. If you don't believe me, go ahead and research it on your own. But we have so many things that block absorption. And if we can't absorb our nutrient, we can't use it. It just doesn't make any sense. So you're constantly hearing about SIBO, leaky gut, biomes, the destruction of the biome, antibiotic resistance. All these things are environmental for the most part. And if we don't get back to basics, we are not going to restore our bodies. And so that kind of, that's just like a big bird's eye view of when you're saying like, how come as we get older, some things don't function as well? Well, a lot of things don't function well. And our core is the number one thing. It's our gut and our gut biome because it's the first source, and our livers, right? Our livers are big detox mechanisms. If you don't detox your detoxifier, you're going to get buildup and it's going to stop running. It's just like if you never change the oil in your car, right? What's going to happen? The engine's going to stop. And
Yeah.
it's not because you're not putting oil in there. It's just because it's getting glumpy and gross. So if you don't change out that system, then you're not going to have a clean running source. So, and there's so many things that are in our food and in our environment. I mean, I live in Southeast Houston, so I don't even want to comment on our air quality. However, um, that's just one part of it because what's in the air is in my water. What's in my water is in my body, right? So I can't control all that, but what I can control is what I eat. And you're right, I sourced my meat. We went down to a place where you can actually pick your cow, and that's your cow for slaughter. That's our cow. He's, we named him Supper, and he's in our fridge. So so we do that. My husband is a hunter, so we do a lot of just venison, and we use a lot of natural meats, right? So not to say that some of those plants that they are eating might have some damage to them, but that's infinitely better than, some kind of genetically modified food that they're giving our animals that eventually go to slaughter, right? So all these things, but even as you get older, some of your repair mechanisms do slow down. If you have certain genes, they may get turned on or turned off. We could go into that too. Genetically, you may have done fine for 30 or 40 years, but then all of a sudden something turns on a gene and some of your receptors don't work as well. Maybe you got an illness that really set you back, right? I mean, COVID, there are so many people right now that we're helping that are just, I don't know. They got COVID. Not only do they have long COVID, but they have long COVID plus, right? They're just feeling terrible. They can't seem to get anything back on track. No matter what they do, everything is amiss. We are trying to help them with this, not just the peptides. I mean, I'm a physician, so I do a lot of different stuff. And we are seeing some really amazing things happen in our office because we think of these things that are outside the allopathic box. We use a lot of our friends to help us. And so, peptides are just one starting point. And I think if you think about your muscles and how much your caloric intake is used up by your muscles because of movement, start there, right? I mean, if people want to trim down and feel better and be stronger, just health wise, start there.
This is part of the fight back, because we have to be healthy and we have to be optimizing our bodies in order to be effective against all of the different enemies that are coming against us. I mean, they're coming against us 1,000 different ways. And
Mhm.
so this is how we can just take some of it back by putting our bodies back in order with these peptides, which help regenerate the cells and help get things working the way they're designed to work to begin with.
And it's not just
Absolutely.
what I love about Make Peptides, and if you can go to Make Peptides website too, but make sure you're using the Freedom Brigade's link when you purchase. But you can do research on it. And another thing, I've never trusted a doctor who says, here's a pill, take all your problems away. I love when a doctor comes to me like what Angie's talking about, function. Because you can't just take something to take your problems away. You need to change the way you eat, you need to change the way you
Yeah.
sleep, and you need to move. We all need to be more active. And so what I love is on the company message level, they are all about that. It's a lot of personal trainers. It's a lot of fitness people who are saying, let's increase your steps. On top of taking this, let's also see what else we can do to make you healthier.
People like me need that, right? So I
Yeah.
was telling you guys before the show. So my issue is I used to have this amazing metabolism, right? I could eat ice cream at midnight, no consequences. After eating pizza all day, right? Like just I do whatever I want. Then I was this skinny little thing walking around. It was just great. And I remember like thinking that I was just a little too big because I was a size 8. And I'm like, I need to be this. I'm just a little too big. So I just quit drinking soda for a week, get back down to where I wanted and keep going through life. Like that worked, right? And then they completely took my thyroid out because I had cancer in that story we've talked about before. And then I had a baby in my mid 30s. Then I had another one in my late 30s. And yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't the case anymore. There was no more metabolism. It's like gone.
Mhm.
And it's like a whole different body. And so, because I had such a great metabolism before, I never got into a habit of working out and being real. I was naturally active, but there would be times when I would have friends that were mean enough. I keep mean friends. If we're really close, you're probably kind of like Andrea and a little pushy, and I really like those people. But, like, the ones that, like, wouldn't let me say no to going to the gym, and I would consistently go, and that would last for maybe 5 or 6 months at the most, and then I would go back. It was never, like, a whole lifestyle for me, and so because I didn't have to, I looked great without it, and
Mhm.
so and I felt great, and, anyway, that I don't wanna go down a rabbit trail there, but
Well,
not having the lifestyle change, now having to so now we're working on the peptides, but I don't even have the energy to try to do a lifestyle change,
mhm.
and so we really need to have that to boost, changing the way we're supposed to do things, you know?
And I had it the other way where I've been thin my whole life and always wanted to work out to put muscle on but I had major gut issues after two C-sections, two kids. My hormones were messed up. My gut was a mess, and I had to change the whole way I ate. There's certain things that you like. Charity knows you won't see me eat certain things because they're literally poison. Like you're not going to see me eat a salad with certain lettuce in it because it'll probably kill me. Like I learned so much about my gut, and I became a carnivore and into all this stuff for the way it made me feel on the inside. So it's not always just about the external and being thin. I mean,
Right,
obviously you want muscle mass, but some people are suffering, especially with all the poisons. They feel awful. I could barely
right.
focus. When
The
your
brain
gut
fog.
is messed up, you have brain fog beyond belief.
Yeah,
You can't focus. And I had no energy to take care of my kids. I barely had energy to get to work. And then I was just exhausted all the time because internally my body was so inflamed. But I
right.
looked great. So people thought, oh, she's healthy. And I would still get to the gym. But I felt awful until I was able to heal myself internally. And these peptides will help people do that.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. I will say one of my favorite quotes in life is Andrea. Her and her carnivore diet, I've tried it. I can't do it. I'm not disciplined enough. I like potatoes and I love bread, especially homemade sourdough bread. Love it. And
Mhm.
so, like, I'm just not that strong. But I remember asking Andrea, what about like your vegetables? And she looks at me and she says, my food eats my vegetables. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's what my food eats.
I love it. I'm like, okay, that's my favorite quote, maybe ever. I don't know, but it's definitely on the
A good
top
one.
10 favorites. Oh yeah, my food is my vegetables. I'm like, okay,
No, that's a good one. That's an awesome one. But it's the same thing too, though. And Andrea probably knows this too. She's probably oversimplifying her world, but it's not just one product. It's not just one thing. It's not just one light switch that goes on and off. I mean, the three of us are like the same woman in different bodies. Like
Yeah.
we are exactly. I mean,
Mhm.
I had C-sections. I had late pregnancies. I never really had issues with my weight. I just didn't. I was naturally active. But now that I'm in my late 50s, if I don't sleep, I don't move. I mean, and we really underestimate sleep. And women especially, and our culture is horrible. I mean,
Mhm.
we have TV 24/7, 365, right? We can tolerate that when we're young, but when we're older with the blue light now and EMF and all the things that are hitting us, there's no way.
Yeah.
We have a very high stress culture, and because of that, we don't sleep well. We don't get into good deep sleep. And I know
Mhm.
that Restored really helps me with that because I'm that person that worries about the world. And we just can't keep going at that pace because we're hurting ourselves. We also have to, and I know you guys love this because you guys are on media, I'm on media. We have to be careful about what comes out of our mouth,
Yep.
right? Because
well,
words
we
can kill
say
you.
that. Like I say, I'm not going to talk about Epstein, and that's all I talk about. So anyways, sometimes we're more disciplined than other times.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I mean, sometimes we especially women, we tend to be our worst critic, right? We
Yeah.
really have a lot of negative self-talk, and we have to be real
That's
careful
right.
about that, especially if we have daughters
Yeah.
or young women around us. We really need to clean up our act on that. But it does have an effect on our psyche. It increases
It does.
cortisol levels. It
Yep.
increases, so
The
that
obsession with
again.
the looks. I was a personal trainer for a long time, and of course, a lot of women would want me to be their trainer because they're wanting to lose weight, obviously. And the first thing I would always do, I'd say, I'm not going to take you as my client until we sit and have this conversation. I'd put them in front of the mirror at the gym, and I'd say, this is the way you look. We're not going to be obsessed with the way you look. We're going to be obsessed with making you healthier. You're never going to look like me. You're never going to look like her. You're going to look like you. I can make you the best version of you. I can help you with that, but I can't make you look something different. It's like my mom was a hairdresser and people come in going, I want this. And she would look at them and go, right, that's never going to happen. That's not the hair you have. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to have to put a wig on you. You got to love who you are and the body you're in. You may not be able to change drastically the way you look, but don't you just want to be the best version of you? It can't
Yeah.
just be about the size of the pants you're wearing and the way you look in the mirror. If you can look at the way you look today and be happy with what you see, then we can just expand on that and build on that. But if you continually tear yourself down, it's going to be a much harder path. You have to look at it from a more positive perspective. God made you
Absolutely.
exactly the way you're supposed to be, but let's just
Yeah, that's
optimize it.
That's good.
That could be a can that opens up a whole lot of other things.
Right.
Well, and it's funny
This
because
is the
it's
power
funny
of your
because
words, everything we've talked about, which, life and death, power of the tongue. You are,
yeah, I mean,
what you
I
think
I
about,
was
what you
all
put your energy into. Go ahead.
I was always so thin. I mean, I had girls say I'm too thin. Ooh, I don't want to look like you. You look. I actually had a girl walk up to me one time at the gym and go, "You need to just like eat more. Like you need to go eat a burger or something. You're too thin." And then I'd have some girls that would train with me and go, "I don't want to look like you." And I'd be like, "Don't worry, you're not going to. Like, that's not how this works." You know what I mean?
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, go to freedombrigades.com, go to the shop tab, and they're on there also. If you on the home screen, if you scroll down there, it's a couple different places on the website. If you're interested in these peptides, check them out. There's a lot going on in the news, and it is imperative that we're taking back our communities. I think that we may take back the nation. I'm actually more optimistic than I have ever been that we may take back the nation. But we're never going to take back the nation if we don't take back our communities. And you're going to do that through your brigades. Other people can't do it. There's no one coming to save you God put you on this earth for this time because you
Amen.
have a role and you have to do it. Maybe it's through the brigades. Maybe it's not. The brigades are free to join. I sure don't make money when you join the brigades. It's just a way to help you get involved. I'm going to ask you to go to your school board meeting or your city council or your county commissioner and then report back to the brigades in your area. And then the leader in your area will communicate with the other ones across the country. And that way you know what's going on in your community. You always have somebody that is telling you in the rooms you can't be in. And then you guys truly can take back your community. When somebody needs to show up and you need reinforcements, we'll send reinforcements. But if you don't even show up, then you can't complain when
No.
they just come in and you're completely enslaved.
Amen.
I have this great story. This happened just this week. You know, I'm always saying taxes. I homeschool my children, and so when we talk about taxes, I had to file my taxes last Saturday, and so of course I tell them, well, the government, this isn't legal. They're criminals, but it is the cartel, and you have to pay them, or they'll come take your stuff. So you have to do it. It doesn't matter if it's legal. You have to do it. And so we do it. And then my 17-year-old, who has her first job, comes to me, and this is such a great story. She's like, Mom, there's been a mistake on my W-2. Can you help me get it worked out? And I'm like, okay, what is it? She's like, well, we're not on Medicaid, but they took money out of my check for Medicaid. And I was like,
The best civics lesson is your first job, and you go, where'd all my money go?
Exactly. I'm like,
That's
well,
the truth.
welcome to the Republican Party. That's called socialism. And no, it's not money that you're using, but you do have to pay it. And I'm so sorry. That is what we're working on. And, you know, I really wouldn't even mind if we could trust that it was what it was meant for. I don't like the socialism aspect. It has never worked out in history because you can't trust the government, but they're liars. That's not what they're doing with the money. They've always got their hand in it. They're always doing other things with it. And so, anyway, the whole thing, is, you guys know, is corrupt and upside down. And it's because we've stayed asleep for too long. People were content to just go to work and come home as long as it didn't bother them too much. The problem is it's like a frog that's being boiled little by little. Over half of your money is going to the government. I'm not talking just your income tax. Add that with every tax you pay.
Yeah.
If you are not keeping at least half of your money, are you a slave?
Yeah. And
Has it
100
already
days,
gone
they
too far?
say, I don't know where they get these numbers at. I'm sure everyone's different, but 100 days of you working your ass off is 100% going to the government every
Okay,
year.
so that makes me mad, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good perspective.
Yeah, think of
It's
it.
a-
Think of the first 3 months out of the year is not
4
for
months.
your family. 4 months, yeah. The first 4 months out of the year is not for your family. It's for
Oh, man.
big government to give Somalis a bunch of money to ship to Somalia. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, so it was a week ago today because I had the big state committee meeting on Saturday for the due date, and I knew, okay, I had to get it done on Wednesday because my days were full, and it was Wednesday
Oh,
or no day.
taxes,
So it was
ew.
a week ago today that I was in getting my taxes for this last year, and that was awful. Anyway, I get mad every year,
It
but
still hurts, right?
it still hurts.
hurts.
But what is beautiful is my 17-year-old's first paycheck
Yeah.
and her first lesson in why we are Republicans.
Civic.
And Republicans alone won't save it. If the people don't make the Republican Party be what it has the potential to be, then the Republican Party alone is not going to save you. It is just the best vehicle that stands for our values. And so if the people take the party that belongs to them, it will be what it's supposed to be. But if you allow crooks to run it in your state or in your area and you don't get involved, then it probably won't be very impactful. And that's just up to you. And you also have to, even if you have good people running your state, you have to go knock doors. You have to go help out the right candidates, and you have to get involved. You can't just sit and get mad that they're not doing it. You have to too. This is an all-in effort. So you guys go to freedombrigades.com, sign up, get some peptides, get yourself healthy, because
Yes.
this is a war. We have been infiltrated and we have to fight back. But thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, Dr. Farella, and we'll see you guys next week.
God bless.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.